Welcome back to our coverage of the GAMA Trade Show 2016. I'm Eric Summerer. We're here in Las Vegas with Chris Handy from Perplext.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good.
So last year, you had the release of your Pack-O games.
That's right.
These little pack of gum-sized mini games that all came in a nice little carrying case. And you decided, well, why stop there?
You can't stop there.
You can't stop with just one Pack-O game.
Yeah, so we're on to Pack-O game set 2.
Okay.
And we're trying to make these a little more gamer satisfying. They are short, kind of middleweight games.
Okay.
Lots of variety again, different range of mechanics. So,
all right. Well, tell us about some of them.
Well, we're looking at 4, kind of a little closer here. We've got Gem, Rum, So, and Orc. So let's take a look at Gem here. Gem is for 2 to 6 players. It can play in teams, or you can play individual as well. Basically, what you're doing here is putting out some events, and there will only be 4 events played in the second part of the game. The first part of the game is kind of a draft, just like in old PE class. You're going to put 12 kids out.
Yep.
And we're going to take turns drafting them into our hand, and you would go and so forth. If you take one of the bullies into your hand, the bullies are not great at events, but what they do is allow you to influence which of the 4 events may occur in the second part of the game. So when you take a bully, you can advance 1 event 2 spaces, or 2 events 1 space.
So there's almost a race going on here as well.
This is kind of a small race that's happening here. Eventually, all the kids are drafted, and then this will determine which of the 4 will happen.
Points.
Yes. And so then, when those are decided, let's say these are the events. Let's move these over a little bit. We're going to take turns playing kids out. And when you play a kid out, you can do either this action or this action, or the one in which you're placing them at, this event action.
Okay.
So these are all kind of, they manipulate the game in some way. They'll swap kids back and forth or across the way, mess with the hand a little bit. Ultimately, though, you want as many, in this case, purple points on your side versus purple points on your opponent's side.
Right.
So that's kind of what you're trying to do there. If you play a bully in this part of the game, you would do the normal action as I just described, but also you have an opportunity to then move one of the coaches, which is on the other side of the 2 events that did not occur. And the coach actually you can move them to any one of the events, and they reduce the chaos at that event. So if you really want to kind of either lock down your own points that are working really well for you, you can bring a coach there, and it would minimize some of the movement of those kids there. So they basically can't be pulled out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So this is Gem. Kind of a lot of interesting decisions, a little bit of an AP situation for some people for this. So there's a lot of choices in the hand, but this is a really fun game, a lot of fun theme.
Excellent.
And yeah, so that's Gem.
Let's move on.
All right. So Rum is a set collecting pressure luck game. The turns are very, very quick, and basically you're trying to get the most points. There's a set amount of points that you're trying to get for either 2, 3, or 4 players. The core of the game is either drawing or playing a set. If you want to draw on your turn, you can draw from the shipwreck, or you can draw from the beach and add it to your hand.
So all these bottles of rum are washing onto shore.
Basically, yes. And so each card has 1 bottle on the top and 2 different colored bottles on the bottom. And so when they're in your hand, you're kind of trying to decide which way you might play a set. And when you play a set, you can also include the 3 single bottles on the beach. So this is kind of a community area like Texas Hold'em or something like that. So I have a green bottle, a yellow, a blue, and 2 red. So ultimately, let's put that aside. That's a good example. Let's do this. So I might play this set of cards. This is 2 yellow plus 1 more yellow, so 3 yellow, a pink, and an orange. Well, that's only enough for me to get the 3 yellow captain card because I played 3. Now these are all set at 1, so any player needs to play more than what it's currently at. So I've got this at 3 now. This 3 is facing me. That's part of the points I'm trying to achieve. You could later on play a higher set. You could play 5, steal this from me, and set the card in front of you at 5.
And these go all the way up to 8
They
or
go to
more.
8, yeah. So one thing you can also do is play what's called a rum trio, and that is the 3 single cards in a color. And that will allow you to steal the captain card from wherever it is, regardless of the number, put it in front of you and increase it by 2. So if you had this at 6, all I had to play was that, put it in front of me and place it at 8. So there's kind of, and then of course these will work with those. So there's kind of some interesting stuff. Now the pressure luck part of it is that there's a parrot in here, which you will begin to curse immediately when you start playing this game.
Okay. Because
when he comes up,
curse you, parrot.
If you draw it, then you have to discard, in this case, 2 cards back to the shipwreck. When the beach cards are taken into the hand, they're replaced with face down cards, and eventually they're all face down. Then there's kind of a reveal. New bottles wash up on the shore. If, when doing so, the parrot is revealed.
Oh no! Curse you, parrot!
All players discard this. This acts as a clock. This will tick all the way to 8. That's one of the in-game triggers.
Okay.
Or when a player gets to a certain amount of points. That's rum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Curse you, parrot!
White, stupid parrot. Okay, moving on to So. This is a Mancala-inspired game of gardening. There are 4 of these wheelbarrow cards, and this will represent a player on each side of these. There's a secret goal color on each one of the bottoms of these. So if this player has yellow, they're trying to get as much yellow on the flowers in their bouquet that they collect.
Okay.
Okay? So during setup, you're basically going to seed the garden with seeds. And there are 4 colors in the game. On the other side of the seed cards, there are flowers. The flowers have 2 colors. There's an inner portion and an outer portion. Inner portion is going to be more valuable to you than the outer portion. So, on your turn, you must take one of the rows and redistribute it in the direction that the wind is currently going. In this case, clockwise. So, I might do. Let's see. I might do this row. And the last card that's placed will dictate what action happens. Because it was a seeds, it flips to its flower side, as do all other seeds that match that color. So in that case, we now have these 2 flowers in the game.
Okay.
Well, if I have blue, I'm trying to get as much blue into my cart, and that's how I will collect the flowers.
Gotcha.
So my next turn, if somebody doesn't defensively prevent this from happening, could go this, this, this. When there's a flower in any cart, the player who's active declares one of the 2 colors, and the owner of that wheelbarrow gets to collect all the flowers of that type. So if this was the case, I would say red, and I would get to collect those 2 flowers.
Those flowers.
So when this is all cleared out, you're going to get points for all the flowers that you have. If your secret color is in the center of the flower, it's worth 3. The outer portion worth 2, and if your secret color is not on the flower, it's worth 1.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's plow that field right there. Bulldozer.
All right, and so for Orc is a 2-player only game. It plays very quickly. This is kind of a battle line type of game. You're going to put out, you'll choose basically some cards that have all 6 territories represented. Each card has either one orc on one side and 2 on the other.
Okay.
And on your turn, you must play an orc down at one of the territories. And then you will draw dead air. Then you will draw
the sound of
draw the
cards
corresponding number of cards back in your hand. So basically, if I played a 2 at this territory, I'm playing 2 orcs, I can draw just 1 back into my hand from any one of these draw piles. So I might draw this. On my next turn, I could maybe play this here as a 1 and draw 2 into my hand.
Okay.
So there's a balance going on there. Eventually, when a draw pile is depleted at a territory, then we're going to battle there. I've got 3 orcs in my color versus 2 in your color. I win that territory. We're going to mark it like this. This says that I control the purple territory for the whole game. I'm going to get 1 point because there's 1 orc there. At the end of the game, any purple orcs in my hand will also reward that number of points.
Okay.
So a lot of tension on what to play. Timing is critical, but it is a 5-minute game that is pretty meaty and fun.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'll do a quick overview of the others, and we don't have to get them out, but I'll just kind of describe them.
Just show us. So how many total are in the pack?
There's going to be 8 in the pack, but we have 9 unlocked on the Kickstarter right now, and we're on track to do a 10th. So I recommend not doing 10 games for a Kickstarter. It will burn your brain.
Sure.
So let me do an overview of these. This is Nut. This is a 2 to 3 player game. It's kind of a set connecting game. There's kind of a pie cutting thing that gets nut cards into your playing area, and you're trying to connect colored nuts to get the most points, and you'll score each color just once, so you're trying to create big clusters. Boo is kind of Othello meets Boo from Super Mario Brothers. So basically,
the big Boo that only follows you when you're not looking?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So there's 3 ghosts on each card. There's either black or white, and you're trying to use your color to stare at other ghosts that aren't looking right back at you to flip those to the other side, which would bring up more of your color. Whoever has the most color of their ghost at the end of the game wins. Okay. And there's tombstones, and there's some other things going on. So this is pretty cool. The next game is Box. This is kind of a cousin of Hue from the first set.
Yes.
This is basically a game that has, just bring out 1 card. Cards that look like this with a lot of dots. And your goal is to create a square. If my secret color was green, I would want to create a square with just the 4 square points in green. And as wide as it is how many points you get. So if this was a 5 by 5 kind of square, you get 5 points.
Oh, neat.
You can cover up to 4 dots. So you're trying to figure out what your opponent's color has and cover them
those
and get big points.
Okay.
That's Box. Dig is a pick up and deliver game with an interesting mechanic where you dig a bone and the last card in the yard kind of does this leapfrog over to fill that void. And there are, it's pick up and deliver, so you're trying to drop off bones at a bowl. And the bowls will dictate how much the bones are worth at the end of the game. And depending on how close the bowl is to the doghouse, that'll dictate the value of the bone. Okay. So basically, if it's close to the doghouse, it'll be worth more points. And finally, Spy is a deduction, kind of hand management, manipulation type game. You're going to try to deduce what your opponent has, and you'll move your spy within your own hand and get information across at your opponent's hand. It's kind of hard to describe. It's very interesting. This has been in development for 15 years, actually. So there's been a lot of work on this one.
Now, my one question for you, all of these have 3-letter titles. Do you ever have trouble coming up with a 3-letter descriptor of the game you're designing?
No, and then it helps actually to drive the theme.
Okay.
So, and I have a long list of 3-letter titles with some possible mechanics. So
how soon will we see the set?
We're going to see them in winter.
Okay.
So,
Chris Handy, thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks.